Shalom. Shalom, shalom, everyone. Welcome to another episode. I'm going to go right to the word, to the sod level of understanding from one of the verses that's in today's Parsha. Like I said, I have been enamored with the Parsha lately in terms of just because obviously it's Sabbath and reading it and meditating it, but it's speaking. I mean, sometimes you get in these little windows where it's just speaking to me personally and on such a biblical level all across the world with the things that are playing out. But today's Parsha is so personal, and it actually has just knowledge that has come to me even this week. But one thing you can do if you're following into the Hebraic understanding of our Torah, which I mean, it's written with 22 letters, and again, the 10 Sephiroth. It's based on this whole concept, and I'm really teaching this in great depth for Ephraim. But these 32 paths of wisdom. But today's Parsha, as I found out, is the Parsha that was being read again the day that I was born, the hour, actually, because it changes. So actually, this Parsha will not happen on my birthday again until next year on February 17th, because this has been my birthday month. Okay, so what this Parsha is about is like it's me. I mean, it is sort of my mission. I feel so compelled to help rebuild the fallen tabernacle of David, which is this whole idea of, okay, so that being said, and I'm not even going to go there, but that to me is a very personal, again, this walking with Yahweh that's going on right now, it is so to the second, almost sometimes it gets uncanny. But those are for other types of discussions. To stick to point, this is a great Parsha, Exodus 30, 11 through chapter 34, verse 35. But the one main character in this, that's what I really want to talk about today, is Betzalel. Now, Betzalel is a very, there's not a lot about him. One of these gets 2 or 3 verses, very important verses, but there's a lot more about him in the histories, in the Mishnah, in the Haggadah, and a lot of the collections of writings that keeps much more detail and track of this, all right? Which is, if you want context and you want to really get the Berean understanding of the words and you have to get that deep. So, well, it's my opinion and I'm sticking to it. So this spirit of Betzalel, which is, again, all in going to the Hebrew, is the word RUACH. This is what we're talking. So what could the RUACH of Betzalel do that, let's say, Moshe couldn't do? Or, others in equally qualified, I would assume, people. Why did the Father, as it said, call Betzalel by name, which is a very important, and why did it say that he has called him by name and that he has filled him with? And then it goes into the spirit of wisdom, understanding, and knowledge. Okay, now so we're going to go to the sod level. We know, obviously, in a Parashah level, because again, I always teach according to Jewish exegesis. Many videos on this. You just go all out and learn about it, because that's fundamental. But the thing is, going down here to this level of sod, let's go right there and let's find out what was this high level of ruach that Betzalel had. All right, because yes, they obviously built the tabernacle. They had gold and silver, and they did, and bronze and all sorts of great wood and things, and they did build that. But that's not the real story. Okay, the real story is, again, always, because what lasts forever, the spiritual understanding, spirit, what was going on behind the scenes. And for some reason, Betzalel was able to be in the most elevated state of, and this is what it is, consciousness. He was able to enter in, and this is, let me take you right there, because it has nothing to do with his ability, let's say his skilled workmanship to be, as there was a craftsman in metal and gold. That is, yeah, I'm sure everybody had a trade, and everybody did, and I am sure he was able to work with his hands. Yeshua to work as a master carpenter or an architect. He was probably much more than just, building benches. All right. These people were master builders on many levels. Okay. So before I get back to, I just want to give you a little context also. Let's tell you who he is in his genealogy, because this is major important also. He's not just nobody. See, this is the thing. Most of the people in the Bible, not just nobody, they are part of the remnant. All right. And this is very important because the remnant I equate to a word, most familiar with Ephraimites is the elect. Okay. Because there are people who are really come from, they themselves have tapped into the lineage that is among them of really sold out, committed, educated, and anointed, spirit-filled believers of their generation. This is really, then I know. So his grandmother, was Miriam. Right? Like I said, he's not nobody. His grandmother is Miriam, who was one of the leaders with Moshe and with Aaron to lead the people out of Egypt and to bring them into the desert and to prepare them and to bring them up spiritually to such a height that they could enter the promised land and that they could conquer and live there. So, I mean, he comes from some people who are, quote, in the know. All right. Now, then his grandfather also was her, because I think I have this right. Miriam was married to her. Okay. And was one of the ones who with Moshe held up his arms during one of the great battles with Aaron. So again, you see this symbiotic relation. These people are probably encouraging, supporting, praying with, fighting with the good fight each other. These are the remnant people that get it, that are trying to spiritually accomplish their mission for Elohim in their generation, and they're not fooling around. So that's a little, that's important to really understand. Now, one of the things that, okay, now you understand who he is, all right? And this is another thing, he's from the line of Judah, his whole archetype, but okay, so Moshe's the leader, who Yahweh is using to literally confront the principalities and powers that are keeping the people in bondage, aka Pharaoh, who's a leader who actually is coming against that and being victorious against that principality. But you have this guy, Betzalel, when it comes down to actually then, this is what they're doing, creating the whole connection from heaven to earth, which is what the whole point of the temple tabernacle is to make a meeting place, always between heaven and earth. How did he get the archetypes? How did he get to figure out what it was that the Father was trying to express to Moshe? Because in one of the verses, just together, it even talks about how Moshe himself got a little frustrated because he knew the Father was telling him, I want it this way and I want you to do this and that. And he was having a really hard time. Like, I get it, but I don't get it. and then the Father, okay, get this guy, Betzalel. He will get it. So what is it that what Betzalel was getting? This is what I'm trying to get at. All right. It's a high level of wisdom and understanding. See, this is something, guys, even we have to understand. These words come from Hebrew 3-letter root words. They have a very established biblical, theological understanding already attached to them. Nothing we need to do. We just need to get back to basic, get back to what is there. But these 3 words that are pulled out of the text, if you look at them and I have many teachings on this, and it's fundamental. And I want to teach it today because, I mean, this is one of the most loaded spiritual texts of or portions in the Torah when you understand it on the total level of the Sod, the Zoharic, that this is really a mind that can enter into the presence. It says that he's in the shadow. I mean, literally, the shadow, the presence of Elohim to see what it is that he is seeing. So he can take it down and help explain it to the people and to make it. All right. This is a process. And the process of seeing God, which is from, our prophets, who enter in their mind to these realms that exist, people, the throne room of Elohim, You know, these places, they're real, they're populated, there's living beings. Our Bible tells us that. I mean, you know, to get to that realm is a discipline of the mind. Well, first of all, it's a discipline of the character. Let me just say that flat out. And anyone who knows me and knows my teachings, everything I say, you know, comes under the banner. We'll just say to see how I can do that. Yod Hey, very poor. Yod Hey Vav Hey. Okay, because seriously, it is under the banner of the one God of Israel. All right, Yod Hey Vav Hey. But so it's moral character and integrity. If you had a mother like Miriam and a grandfather, you know, and you're surrounded by all these, I doubt you're going to be a rebellious, you know, and if you are sticking like glue to your elders, then yes. So he was steeped in a life of holiness, of purity, of Torah obedience, I am sure, and his whole character testifies to this in the writing. But the thing is, there are 5 words. There's a whole, this is like a kind of a big chunk of understanding that I can just kind of touch on, give you the cliff notes. But again, I'm going deeper and deeper into these things. But there's 5 words when you really parse it out that talk about how the word is, what is, like the Father uses these words, the text, and what he's doing with it. He is engraving. Let me just put these down, and then I'm going to go back up to mine. He is engraving, right? And then we're constantly told, don't engrave idols, you know, don't. Okay, what is engraving? All right, but let me get these out. There's carving. See, we always want to interpret these on the Parashah level. Oh, he's just talking about literally stone, because they did work in stone, you know, these things. But no, that's not what we're doing. He's permutating. This is huge. If anyone has ever done any understanding of working with the higher spiritual numbers and energy that is in a lot of the Orthodox traditional prayers within Judah, like the Anabacoa, the 42-letter name of God, or the 72 names, unbelievable. But this to permutate the letters is key. All right, but we'll come back to that. Weighing, doesn't he always say he's weighing? Okay, and he is transforming, right? What are we supposed to be? Transformed, right? But what? By the renewing of our mind. Very common New Testament verse. Okay, now let me explain to you what these processes on the deeper soul level in the mind are talking about, okay? And it is talking about, number one, you have to get to this level. This is what Betzalel had. He had the spirit of Elohim. This is Elohim, Bina. Now, these are the 3 words that are in the Hebrew, all right? So I'm saying he was filled with the spirit of wisdom. Okay, these are not arbitrary. He was filled with the spirit of, okay, which is the word, all right, and he was filled with the spirit of understanding. I don't go over. I don't want to go into my little thing there, sorry. And with knowledge, okay? Which is what these represent, because now this is a little graphic that I've made. This represents what is an upper triad, which is on the tree of life. This is a graphic, believe it or not, that is a glyph that is loaded with, you know, it says a picture's worth 1,000 words. Thousands of theological understandings are packed into these 3 little circles. Would you like to know? Okay, but the word here, chokmah, is wisdom. This is bina, understanding. This is keter. This is the highest level, and soft. This is like the God meeting place. I mean, you know, obviously, God is. Oh, I don't. You know, he's outside of it, but he did make a creation, and he used. It says with wisdom. With understanding, with bina. This word, he created the heavens and the earth. That's the first word in Bereshit. Okay, beginning with bina. Now, what I'm saying is these 3 words are these 3 words in the Hebrew, and they relate to a level of understanding, and it is called having the mind of Christ, if you're New Testament. In the Old Testament, you know, it's told, like in Proverbs, all over, get wisdom and get understanding. It is an ability to use the letters, okay? It is an ability to, because the letters are the DNA of creation. They are living, intelligent. This is the word of Elohim. I'm sorry, okay? This is what it is. And how to take these letters and combine them and formulate and in that energetic state, see what's there. All right, this is really high level stuff. I can't do it. I just know that this is the testimony of what is going on. And especially if you get into the deeper parts of the Torah, which are made for the mature, you know, believer, the Torah sages who have completely subdued their carnal nature and they're holy, and now they can enter in to the different, you know, and they're called rooms, palaces, worlds, dominions, or whatever, okay? But by engraving, carving, and I'm not, I just want to show this to you. And I'm asking you to not think of these in the Pashat level of where he's just got a stone or wood or something. We are taking energetic intelligences and we are being able to enter into holy places, sacred spaces, and see what's there and able to translate it down and say, okay, yeah, this is what the ark of the is supposed to look like. And, you know, and the cherubim are like this, and the wing is really like this. It's not like, I mean, this is important stuff because it's an exact replica. Okay. And these people are not confused, and they're not going to be sloppy. They know that they are engaged in an extremely unique, one of a kind, holy work to literally make an archetype on earth of what's in heaven, to teach the people, to help the people enter in and stay in, living at this high level of consciousness, which again is wisdom and understanding. I guess I am being a little circular, which is a level of understanding which the Torah knows about, the sages. It's all classified. Okay, this is, but it takes, you know, it takes some understanding, some knowledge, some training in your mind. It takes a level of holiness. It takes these things, and it takes dedication. I mean, that's what they say about Moshe. He was so dedicated to when he finally got it, decide, okay, I'm on board 100%, and to be this servant of Elohim, to do this, that he left his wife and started to live an ascetic lifestyle. And of fasting and fasting 40 days and then blah, 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 and then another 40 days. I mean, okay, and live this aesthetic lifestyle in which he was so in a way disconnected from the bodily needs, so that he could just maintain levels of consciousness, of communion with the Father. Okay, so I guess my message to Ephraim also is, look at Ephraim, you just don't know what you don't know. And it's kind of serious. But this is where I want to end. This is the exciting news. Oh, I have to get something. It fell down. This is what Mashiach did for us. And I say Messiah ben Joseph, you know, profanely I say that, you know, among the nations, he is Jesus the Christ, but he is also Yeshua, the anointed one, meaning he had this level. Totally. This is our Heavenly Mother, Heavenly Father. This is where he says, I know the Father. I come from where the Father, I know where his level, okay? There was no confusion. And what the Father did, he did, just like Betzalel, okay? This is a level that called Bina. Now this word Bina, if you look in your, if you were to do the word study on the verse, which is Exodus 31:3 within this part, the word for Bina is the word tebuah, I believe, but the root word is bin, B-I-N, which is the root for Bina. It always refers back to this Sephiroth, this attribute, this divine feminine. This is the female. He made them male and female. I'm telling you, there's so much packed into this. But my point is, Yeshua made a way for the lost sheep of the house of Israel, this is the story, to enter back up into this level of understanding. This is what we were cut off from. We were sent out to the nations, and it was like, okay, worship their gods, you know, be their cultural, do whatever you want, but you're not going to enter into this. You're not taking this to the nations and selling it and profaning it, okay? This is what Judah, this is one of the greatest revelations, and you know, this is what Judah has been keeping in the house in lockdown, secret, really, for thousands of years. The name, the system, the tetragrammaton, the name. I mean, this is okay. But the point is, we can enter back in because a way was made to reach into this level of being an understanding through Yeshua. But this is what this is a great, to me, example of what a Bina understanding is. And that's why they say a lot of women, you know, they say are very intuitive. Okay, because Bina is intuition. It's an ability to grasp or to understand something immediately. You know, just like a flash, just without having to have all the necessary steps of conscious reasoning. Okay, if you can basically grasp what I am saying, you know, maybe I didn't show you the example of the carving and the engraving and go to all these Bible verses and because it's there, but just to intuitively understand these words have to be being used on deeper levels. Okay, so this ability to have Bina understanding, all right, which is this is the born again truth. This is what we get. We get a neshama connection in our soul again, all right, and it is it's a direct ability to have a direct perception of truth, independent of any reasoning processes. Again, this is something this is something that the early church struggled with, because it was like, okay, and today Judah has been so busy putting a fence around Torah. There are so many ways to it can be mind-boggling and discouraging, truthfully, to try to enter into this level and having to climb all the steps and bells and whistles that Judah has to read all the text to get all the words right in their Jewish transliteration. I'm saying, you know, I'm going to go there. I'm going to keep plowing away. But in the meantime, my relationship with the Father is such that I can enter into this independently of having all that knowledge nailed down and locked down. Not in any way to limit it or denigrate it, just saying. All right, because I can have this intuition, this ability to understand immediately what the texts are doing, and to acquire knowledge without the proof, evidence, or conscious reasoning that you would need to have possibly for other systems. There is an intuitiveness that we receive that allows us to go into deep places in the Word if we are properly, and that's the key word, properly directed. And unfortunately, until Ephraim, enough of those in the house, get back to the Hebrew to understand what the word of Elohim is, go back and check our words, get the original foundation that Paul and the apostles, the prophets, Yeshua, that they all had, which was 100% Hebraic, which was totally of a lineage. See, this is really, because Betzalel was of the tribe of Judah. All these guys were, that really did come down pretty straight through this whole genealogy in which they trace the Mashiach. All right, it's a very important, to understand the remnant and the job they did. And it says that in the last days, as we understand this, that the brothers will praise Judah. And again, I always say, I'm first to praise Judah. So I hope you enjoyed that Parsha or that teaching, and spend some time. Always, I encourage looking at the Hebrew root words and developing that understanding that comes from there. And we're making all the crooked places straight. So, shalom, shalom, and many blessings to you.